Hey folks, I just wanted to give you a heads up and let you know that on today's episode, we do talk a little bit about suicide and depression. We always leave some information in the notes for you if you or somebody you know is going through these things. Most importantly, we hope what you learned today is that it's okay to talk about it.
The fact that he took his own life actually saved me from doing the same thing, because I didn't see that side. I was very selfish on like how I felt. I didn't think about how my family would feel. Yeah, or what happens after.
Sometimes our world crashes down. All we know goes up in flames. A broken bone that heals is much stronger than before. Don't look down. Keep your head up high. You'll be free from this pain you feel.
Hi everybody, I'm Don Amaro, and today on the show, my friend and musician Jade Turner is joining us. She's somebody who has found a way to fight for what she needs for her mental health, and she's going to share that with us today on Through the Fire.
You'll see the light.
Hi Jade.
Hi, Don.
Thanks for coming here today. Jade, you and I have known each other for a good number of years. We both sort of grew up in the music community in Winnipeg for 10 plus
Don't talk
years?
about
Okay.
that, how many years?
For a while.
For a while.
Yeah. Not only that, we also have a child growing up at the same time right now.
Yes.
Do we not? Yeah. How old is your little guy?
He just turned 3.
I should know that because they were same age.
They were supposed to be born the same week, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your boy just came too early.
Too early, yeah. He, my little guy just started riding a bike. Can you believe it?
Oh, nice.
It's crazy. So we had one of those balance bikes this year, and he rode it for a while, and then he was flying on it. So I just said, let's try taking your training wheels off your other bike, and he had it immediately.
That's amazing.
Which was nuts because my other kids were my 7-year-old daughter just finally got it.
Yeah.
So I think he put the pressure on her to figure it out. So it's been.
That's
been
really
crazy.
early, actually.
Yeah.
I think.
So we got
That's
3.
funny.
You got 1.
I've got 1.
How many more are you going for?
That's it. Come on, Don.
It's
I'm good.
it's
I'm
a trip,
good with my
isn't it?
baby.
Yeah. Has he inspired some songs?
Yes, of
Yeah.
course he has. Yeah, I've got a song coming out September 16th called "Stay Wild Child" that I wrote specifically for him. So, yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
These are big years, hey. Like right now, kind of absorbing those as much as you can, and
Yeah, they grow so fast. Like I just can't believe how much he's grown already, and I'm just like watching him get too big for his bed. And I get sad.
So
and
is
I'm
he
like,
still in his
"No."
toddler bed?
Yes.
Yeah, but so
Yes.
you're having to think about upgrade,
Yes.
next level.
Yeah.
How long's he been in his own room? Sorry, just a couple of parents catching up here.
He's
That's what's
not
going on.
in his own room.
Oh, he's not?
He's not. No, his dad, him and his dad are in one room, and I'm in another because I wake up at 5 in the
Different
morning.
shifts, right? Yeah.
And his dad refuses to let him sleep in his own room. Just absolutely refuses. He's like really attached to him.
his dad's attached
His
to him.
dad is
Okay.
very attached
So-
to him, and he will not leave that room.
I've also heard that other cultures around the world think it's crazy that we put our kids in another room
Yeah.
and let them sleep by themselves.
I can see
and-
that though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A friend of mine went to India and he said, "Wait a minute, you're telling me that your kids sleep in other rooms?" He's like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "So is it true that every family has a vehicle?" And he says, "Actually, it's true. Everybody has 2.
Yeah.
Mostly has 2. We don't, but it was just this harsh reality that this Western way of living is so different from
Yeah. We have
indigenous
a lot of
cultures
shit.
around the world. Like
A lot of material stuff.
I want to go back a little bit with you, Jade. This is, after all, Through the Fire. Sounds like you're in a good place now, but if you wouldn't mind going back and tell me what it was like for young Jade. I always thought, I said it earlier off camera, you were from Grand Rapids. You said, no, you didn't grow up there. You moved like 17 times, you said, right?
Yeah, I think I moved 17 times by the time I was in grade 9, actually. I can't really remember specifically, but I lived all over northern Manitoba. My mom was a nurse, and so she moved constantly in just all the different remote reserves, and yeah, I was always the new kid. I was the only kid in my household with her, so.
You have no siblings?
Not from my mom. I didn't
Okay.
have, my sibling didn't come until 13 years later. I was 13 when they came. So, but my dad, there's a lot of us.
Okay. Okay.
There's 6 of us.
So were your parents apart, separated?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so your dad, did he also work? Was he working?
Yeah, my
back
dad
then?
was
Yeah?
chief most of my life, actually.
Oh,
Chief
I
of Grand
didn't know
Rapids.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was always back home, during the summer times or weekends or whatever. I was always back and forth from Grand Rapids to wherever I was living. But I think I've only lived there maybe 7 years maybe, I'm not even sure.
Right.
And then when I was working there also at the generating station for about 8 years.
Right.
So, yeah.
So what is your day job? What is that?
I'm a millwright.
Millwright.
Yes.
I don't know what that is.
It is an industrial mechanic.
Okay.
So
I did see your toolbox on Instagram the other day.
Yes, it's a very big, very expensive toolbox.
Are you looking for sponsorship? Is that what you're doing?
I really wish. Oh my God, Mac, please sponsor me.
So what does that work entail?
Well, before I was working in a generating station, so I worked as a mechanic, but I also worked as a station operator. So we were basically, it's so hard to explain if you don't work within Manitoba Hydro. But I'm dual traded, and now that I had my son, I couldn't work the shift work anymore. It just didn't work for the family. So I currently work in Winnipeg at a machine shop, and it's 7 to 3:30, and it's great. I'm home every night, and they're really good with giving me time off for music, and they're very supportive. So that's good.
How long have you been working with the company?
13 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got some seniority there.
Yeah.
Cool. I want to get into it with you. I didn't know about this either, but I didn't know that your dad had taken his own life.
My stepdad.
Your stepdad.
Yes, my
Okay.
stepdad.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
my sibling's dad. He took his own life when I was 15 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you close with him?
Yeah, I was, because him and my mom were together for about 6 years prior to that.
Okay.
So it was, and then he also had his son living with us at that time too. So I had a stepbrother that had to go move away from us as well when that happened. So I lost both my stepbrother and my stepdad at that time. And prior to that, it was a really strange experience, because the fact that he took his own life actually saved me from doing the same thing, because I didn't see that side. I was very selfish on how I felt. I didn't think about how my family would
waves
feel. Yeah,
that
or what
happens.
happens after. I was very lost, being the only child for a very long time, moving around all the time. I was extremely bullied in a lot of places. And then also, just recently finding out that I have ADHD. I also had ADHD on top of that. So I was trying to manage everything, not knowing, right? And then, so when that happened, I had no choice but to see the other side of things, of what happens after that, what happens to your family when you do that. And I can't imagine doing that to them. So that saved me in so many ways. It was horrifying, it was horrible, but it saved my life.
So your stepdad.
Yeah.
Was he battling depression or any sort of thing?
I didn't know, because I was a teenager and I wasn't paying attention, right?
Okay.
So I didn't know that he was. I was not expecting that. It came out of nowhere.
Right.
I remember it being the last day of school, and I was supposed to go to Winnipeg to go spend a week there and shop, and it was,
for summer.
Yeah, for summer. It was the last day of school. I last grade 9.
That would have made summer really hard.
Yeah. And yeah.
And then, so you said that it saved you. It sounds like you were also dealing with.
I was extremely
suicide.
suicidal before that, yes. I had really bad depression. I had really bad outbursts. It was a lot to deal with. I was very angry at a lot of things, the way I grew up and being bullied all the time. And
Why were you moving all the time? Why so many moves?
we were moving. It was my mom. My mom was taking me to all these places. She was working as a nurse.
Oh, I see, okay.
So she just wanted to work for her, for our people. And doing that, she went to all the different reserves, and I
Mm.
was moved around quite a bit.
So that would have had probably a big toll in terms of you just in your community and your ability to connect with people in each
Yeah.
place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was a lot.
And so, if you don't mind me asking, like for you, this idea of these suicidal thoughts, tendencies, was that something you ever tried to act on, or was there any?
There was a
Did you have some
few.
plans in place?
There was a few incidents, yes. One specifically, I know I took a whole bunch of pills, and my family didn't know about that for years, but I woke up and I was very angry when I woke up. Like, why? Why didn't God or Creator just take the pain away, basically, right? I don't know how old I was. I must have been maybe 10 or 11. I'm not even sure. I was very young. But I remember waking up very angry about it.
That's hard for me to hear because I got a 10-year-old, and I think how heavy our lives could be. But my wife and I, we work so hard to give our kids perspective and hope and light and love and all these things, and not that your folks didn't hopefully instill some of that into you, but just the idea of thinking of somebody so young Jade.
There was a lot of love in my family. Me and my family say I love you even if we were leaving the house or getting off the phone. There was a lot of love there. Unfortunately, all I heard was the kids at school telling me, I was whatever they felt like telling me that day. I was literally fighting my way through life every single day at school, and I don't think the adults really knew how bad it was. So, yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot.
So you're battling that, these thoughts, in some instances actions to harm yourself and essentially end your life. Your stepdad takes his own life, and you think, wait a second, I don't want to have the same kind of effect that had on my community, on my family, and people around me. So that, in a strange way, helped you see
I would
what
never,
not to do.
I could never hurt my family that way. That's all I kept thinking about.
Right.
Because I was very angry with him, and I still have a lot of resentment against him for doing that.
And the pain it causes.
Yeah, and just and it's been years, but growing up the way that, in Indigenous communities in general, there's so many suicides, and there was, I think, 4 around that time, not just in my family, but my friend's family or something that were going on, and I was just angry. I was angry for a long time, and I would get angry every single time that somebody would do it. Like, why would you do that? But then I would remember, okay, I was there, and I didn't see that other end. The other end, what happens after, right? I didn't see that. All I wanted to do was end the pain. So it's a little bit selfish. I was a little bit selfish that way back then, but I didn't know better. So I was just trying to, feel better.
Have you ever had the opportunity to talk to young Indigenous
No, I
people
haven't.
about this?
No, I have done a few, conferences and stuff, and where I told my story through Frontier School Division, but I haven't done it in a while. But when I did do it, it was
What's the words that you would say to somebody? Say to young Jade. What would you wish that she had? The words that she knew.
You're worth more. That's one of the main reasons why I wrote Worth, my song Worth. There was a suicide pandemic going on in Cross Lake that time that I wrote that. And I remember just, I was traveling back and forth between Selkirk and Grand Rapids at that time, and I remember just stopping on the road and just crying. And I had to get there for a night shift, and when I got to the night shift, I wrote that song in 10 minutes. Of what I would have wanted them to know, or what I would needed to hear when I was that age. And that's a big word. Worth is a big word, and it's hard to find.
Yeah, especially if you're feeling the resounding, and I think this is often the case. In a small way, I often think about what we get to do as musicians, and I can sing to a crowd of people and everybody can be singing my song, and I can see that one person who's like not in it, and I'm like, that's what I focus on,
Yeah.
right? We I think our human condition is just to focus on the negative, right? And
Yeah.
so I want to know also, like, when so you're mid-teens, you're feeling like you don't want to cause that kind of harm to people around you because you care about them too much. Where's your mindset now on that? Is it still the same place? Would you say that sort of frame of mind of self-harm is far from your mind now?
You know, it was, and then it sounds really bad, but I had my son and I got really bad postpartum depression.
Right, yeah, it's a thing.
And I thought that there was a period of like five or 6 months where I was like, I had to tell my family, like, hey, I've been having suicidal thoughts and I know that it's not, I won't do it. So, you know, but I do
Right.
need help here because there's something going on. And that's when I was diagnosed with my ADHD. And then on top of everything else, you know, the postpartum and everything else. And that was huge for me, and it helps. But I had already been dealing with, you know, the depression for so many years, not knowing that it was ADHD. So when I got that diagnosis, it was kind of like, oh, okay, so I'm not just crazy. You know, it's not just me. There's actually something there that I need help with. And so that helped a lot. But at that time, I felt like almost like it would be better if I wasn't here. But I knew that was just something chemically that was imbalanced, right?
Right.
So I reached out as soon as it started happening, and I would talk to everybody about it, and I started getting my own time, and then I realized I had sensory overload issues, and that was huge having a newborn, you know.
Of course. Oh, I know
I
that.
went from
All
30
too
something years of not having anybody right
Depending
there.
on you,
Yeah, to having, you know, a baby crying all the time, and I had to hold him, and there was a lot that I had to get used to, and you know, take a step back. And now I know sometimes I need my own time, and sometimes I need, you know, I know what I need now, I guess, to help it.
Right. You said something that I think that's really important to highlight there is you saw these things happening in your mind, and you reached out to people who you know care about you and say, I need help here. I wonder if for a lot of people they don't take that step because there's this sense of pride and like, oh, I'm not, it's not that bad.
I think they're in denial a lot of times, but also maybe people don't believe them. Maybe they think that it's, you know, it's a way of getting attention sometimes. Because I hear that a lot. You know, oh, they're just whatever, trying to get attention. But no, I don't think anybody ever wants that kind of attention.
Well, I think this term postpartum depression, it's always been a term that we've all known, but I think I would say more recently it's been one that has been taken a lot more seriously.
Yeah, I think it should be
recent
taken very
years.
seriously because it is a very serious problem. And it's a huge change for, you know, a woman to go through having a child and then having that happen. It's very scary. It can be very scary, and, you know, I feel really bad for a lot of moms that are on their own.
No doubt. When you look back at that time in your life when you're starting to, I think maybe, again, maybe I'm interpreting it on my end, but maybe picking up some of the pieces to figure out who Jade will be in the future. Was there things that you were like, I'm going to grab onto this, I'm going to do this, music, these are the things that I'm going to kind of cling to? Yeah,
I had to go back. You know, I've always had music, and music has always been a huge outlet for me ever since I was a kid. I remember, you know, one town specifically where it was really bad. The bullying was really bad. So I decided to, I ran into the bush for an entire week. Nobody knew. I had a watch because we didn't have anything else back then. And it was middle of winter. I would put all my ski pants, everything on. I think I was like 8 maybe. And I would run into the bush all day, sit there and sing to myself.
Really?
Yeah. And then make it back when the bus was supposed to be back. And
so you weren't going to school?
No.
You were running up to sing?
I ran off, and I didn't want to be at school, so that's where I went. And that was my, I've always gravitated towards music to heal me. And that's, I take that very seriously now. I know I need that in my life. I don't think there's ever going to be a time in my life where I'm not going to be writing or singing or, you know, dancing.
Mm.
Me and my son dance at home a lot.
Yeah. What does he like listening to?
He's addicted
Does
to
he like
powwow.
Donna Merrow at all?
He loves Donna Merrow. He listens to powwow. He's addicted, like
Yeah.
completely addicted. He will listen
I saw a
to
video of him drumming.
any kind of ceremony songs all day. Even if there's no
Mm-hmm.
ceremony songs going on, he'll find his drum and he'll start drumming, or he'll find a stick and start drumming on the ground. Like he is literally addicted. It is so funny.
Oh, that's great.
And he because he's been nonverbal so far, you know, he has a couple words here and there. He sings mostly. So, and I've noticed that it's a huge, like when I started getting him to sing words, that's when he started saying them.
Interesting.
Yeah, so he's very all about the music as well.
Wow.
I love it.
It's really cool to be able to see that pass on through
Yeah.
generations. Like my kids all love music, but my daughter really has something.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I don't know how she does it, but she writes all the time. She's always creating new songs and lyrics, and
That's awesome.
she's very artistic, and it's really cool to kind of see that coming out in her.
Yeah.
It's cool that you're able to kind of I think because of your upbringing and the things that you've gone through, I venture to guess that you're able to give your kid, your son, the gift of the things that you didn't have necessarily, or maybe see the world through a lens that you didn't have at his age.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. That's all I can hope as a parent, is just to be there for him no matter what, right? And I would hope that he wouldn't have to go through the traumas that I had to go through, and I'm going to do everything in my power that he doesn't. So that's all we can do as parents, I think.
Yeah.
Try our best.
Yeah, that's the truth, and he's lucky to have you
Thanks.
as his mom. Yeah. What's the next thing for you? What's going on in the next chapter for
The next chapter.
Jade
Oh
Turner?
my goodness, I don't even know what's going on in the next few days.
I hear you there.
I'm just gonna keep writing, co-writing with people. You know, working on new
I
music.
got your text the other day about writing.
Yeah. Murray said we should write, so I was like, okay, let's do that. And
It's
then
on camera now. We have to do it.
Yeah, we got to do it now. It's written in stone. We're gonna do a bunch of co-writes and work on a new project. And like I love music. It's just so fun. And then also meeting everybody in the music industry. I think that's a huge thing. I've never really felt like I found my place until I was in the music industry, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, Amp Camp, those kind of places. I was like,
know.
oh, these are my people.
Yeah. So AMP Camp, if those of you who don't know, is a Aboriginal music program, which is now the Indigenous music program. Great place where artists like you and I kind of cut our teeth in some ways to kind of take the next step of our career, and really was integral to help getting us to this place. So.
Yeah, and there's like artists across the country that are invited, and we spend a week together, and it's just amazing. It was an incredible experience. Yeah.
Jade, I know we talked about some pretty heavy stuff, and I'm grateful that you're able to kind of unpack some of that for us. And I think, again, hearing your story and some of the things you've been through and how you got through them are key. And you know, the idea that you that we can draw strength from tragedies elsewhere sometimes.
Yeah.
It's a strange concept, I think. But even, you know, in the last couple of years, we talked about it with COVID. Even with COVID, like as hard as awful as it's been, and you know, none of us wish it had ever happened, but there's been a lot of really incredible things that have come through tragedy like that.
Yes.
And tragedies like death and
know.
suicide. And I'm grateful that you're here and
Thank
that you fight every day, and not just for your son, but I think there's stories and songs and life that you have for us to draw from. So thanks, Jade.
Thanks.
Yeah, pleasure.
I appreciate that.
You see